One of the tools we really like talking to managers about is a situational leadership model. This is a really simple tool to help you to adapt your management style to the person that you're managing, whether they're a brand new starter or whether they're somebody who maybe has just come into your team or someone who maybe has taken on new responsibilities or even someone who's struggling in their role. It's really helpful to understand this model so that you can adapt your ways of working and your management style to where they are to get the best from them. Every employee is different, so asking early about how they like to be managed is also a tip that we like to give. We do assume that we've got a management style sometimes and people should kind of adapt to us, but actually we're seeing more and more that people need to be treated as an individual and that we need to adapt our style to them to get the best from them. So this is one way of doing that. Okay. One of the things when you might really want to think about this is during probation. So if you're going to start using this model for the first time, perhaps you start it with somebody who's going through their probation. This isn't a linear model. People can enter the model at any point. So you can see we've got these 4 quadrants. And if we start over here in S1, this is very much a high level of direction, and you're basically telling the person what to do. So this is where you would kind of start off in a probation period. Obviously, if you've got someone who's really technically well qualified and knows their role very, very well, you might think, well, why would I start off down there? But what we've got to think about is they don't know your organisation, they don't necessarily know your processes or your way of doing things, or indeed your values and culture and how we want to deal with clients or colleagues or suppliers. So you would still potentially start off down here. But for some elements, if they were undertaking perhaps some technical elements of their job where they were fully qualified, you might say, okay, for those aspects, I'm going to take more of a supporting role where we're really not telling them what to do, but we're making it very clear we're there to support them. Perhaps you have regular catch-ups with them to talk about what they've been doing, how they've been doing it, and how you can support. Or indeed a coaching style where perhaps you really don't know them well, you think they're highly qualified, but actually you want to be very closely watching what they're doing, perhaps giving them guidance and making it clear that they're support before you let them off on their own and move into more perhaps a supporting phase or a full delegation phase where really you're letting them go off on their own, within obviously the kind of ground rules, etc. So if your employee is very new, I would definitely adopt more of a directing style, but we don't want to stay in that place for too long. This can be quite stifling. You know what it's like if you've come in and you're maybe handing over from someone who's leaving and they're kind of sitting next to you watching everything you do. It can feel, very disempowering. We don't want to stay in here too long unless we need to. We shouldn't be afraid to go back in any of these quadrants though. So if you've had someone maybe who's very competent at a task and you've let them get on with it and you've kind of ended up in the delegating phase, but then they take on something brand new. Let's say, for example, they were attended all your board meetings with you and they were taking fantastic minutes and you just let them get on with that. But now they're going to go into that board meeting and present something that perhaps they haven't done before. You may well go up into this coaching area where you're going to sit down with them, ask them to talk through, how they're going to approach it, what slides they're going to use, how are they preparing beforehand, how are they preparing for questions, and then perhaps have some time afterwards to go through how did it go, how did they feel, anything they'd do differently next time. So you're even though this person has been down here, you are not afraid to go back into another quadrant if they're doing something new or different, or perhaps if they're just feeling less confident about something. So they might be competent, they're competent, but actually they're feeling a little bit cautious or unsure about it. You might adopt more of a supporting role for that particular task. So have a think about before you dive in and start either completely delegating or overbearingly directing, think about, where is my person at the moment? Are they learning fast but need encouragement, where you might take more of a coaching aspect? Or are they feeling underconfident perhaps and I might need to support them? Or am I being too tempted to fully delegate when actually they may not be ready? So I think this model is really simple and really helpful. Have a go, see how it works for you, and let me know what you think.